Yeah.
There it is. Welcome, everybody, to the 2,000 Miles from the Totem Pole podcast. God, whoever's doing that guitar is awesome.
Man, listen to that. Damn.
Oh, I'm Cat Collins, and with me today I have Zen, who is co-host, of course, to this show. Hi, Zen.
As always, hi, Cat. How's it going? I am the resident mad scientist, artist, and boy, am I glad to be here. This is going to be wonderful. This is number 2. This is, we already did one in a row.
Right.
So now we're going to do the second one in a row.
Zen, I gotta say, we are now podcasters, right? And our moms would be proud.
Wouldn't they?
Yes.
Wouldn't they? Yes.
And I do say our moms because, you know, you had young mom. I had old mom.
Wait, yeah, I had young mom and you had, but we both had working mom. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
And that was different. It was kind of odd having mom go to work and dad stay at home. But he wasn't a stay-at-home dad. He went down into his
dungeon,
dungeon and did his electronic stuff and that sort of stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned that because on our dad's door down in his dungeon, he had a sign that said, "This way to the orgy."
Right. And he got that from Mad Magazine.
Oh.
Mad Magazine had one issue that they had a whole bunch, they had a page of stickers. And yes, I remember "This way to the orgy." It's like,
Oh, that I didn't know. Like where it came from, right? So that's great.
yeah, see, so, you provide the what's happening, and I'll tell you how it got there.
I mean, I don't know what you had in mind for this podcast, but I was thinking maybe we should highlight kind of some of Dad's idiosyncrasies and whatnot.
That's funny, because I was thinking the same thing earlier this week, thinking, I mean, we grew up in a very, what we thought was normal, household.
We did not coordinate this, by the way. I just want to tell our users, Zen and I wore the same dress, and it's the same color.
Oh, and look at your shoes. They match so well.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just threw this on. This old rag, it just happens to be the same as yours. Yeah, we didn't coordinate this. In fact, we never coordinate anything.
It just looks like what Nancy wore in the cartoons.
Right. Okay, first of all, since we're talking about cartoon women, Wilma or Betty?
Betty Boop.
Betty. Everybody's Betty.
Yes, Betty.
Yeah, every guy I've talked to says Betty.
Betty.
Well, I think because Wilma was, everybody identifies with Fred.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that big old rock on her neck.
No, I mean, herself, she was too much of a rock. She was like Fred. You're gonna.
Yeah.
Hey, whereas Betty, that's interesting because whereas Betty was just kind of like, Barney, whatever you want to do,
Yeah, but she got bad on him. She broke bad. But anyway, back to the subject at hand, which was I got to tell you, Terry Cat is in charge of the sound effects, and so if any callers want to call in and hear a specific sound effect, you just do it. And,
you just tell me.
Yeah, Cat will put it out there.
Sorry, go ahead.
So additionally, I'm monitoring the Twitter and Facebook feeds, and we'll interrupt when we have a comment.
Do we have that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And all of our Twitter followers are wearing the same dress too. Okay, so where were we? We were going to talk about Dad and his idiosyncrasies, but that was good to put it out there that we both had the same parents, but at such different times that there were different people. They raised me without a booklet. I mean, Dr. Spock books say, take care of your child, spank them, and I don't know, whatever Dr. Spock said. But by the time you came along, they had some chops under their belt. So, they knew sort of how to do things, but at the same time, they were living their own lives and being adults in a world where you got parents. I mean, you have children, and you go about your business and do everything like that.
It's not easy to be a parent.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know.
Apparently.
I wouldn't know. I didn't have, the papers didn't go through, so I didn't have any children.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Darn those Chinese. Yeah, well, I did. Well, no, I did have one child, but and took on 2 others too. So
yeah,
and raising kids after the age of 10 is a little easier than. I was able to raise Caroline when she was a little tiny thing.
Yeah, and she was tiny.
Yes, she was. Yeah.
So what's the toughest stage, would you say? I mean, you've only had experience with one, at least at the early.
I don't know what the toughest stage is. I just had fun with all of it.
Yeah.
It was like the toughest time I had with Caroline is at 2, maybe 3. We were driving down to Mom's, down in King George, and Caroline pointed to a big water tower, and she was like, "Oh, Daddy, what is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's a spaceship, that landed a long time ago, but they're gone, they're blah, 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 blah." And then when she was 10, did the same thing. "Daddy, there's that old spaceship." Oh my God, did I tell you that? Oh, now I had to backtrack.
So did you remember telling her?
Yes, of course I did.
Okay.
I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I said that.
I shouldn't have said that.
No. The thing is, I respect that you didn't take it back. You just went with it again.
There it is. Yeah, that old Oh, no, I told her what it was.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, I told her exactly what it was. And I did tell her, I'm sorry, I did tell you it was an old spaceship.
Yeah, because I have a friend
who... She still loves me.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend whose dad, I mean, they were driving around in the car, same sort of situation, and she claims that Dad turned towards a specific house that looked different, sort of, or whatever, and just happened to mention that house had 12 basements.
Oh.
Now, yes. And the thing about it is that he doesn't remember saying that. I never said that. Why would I say that? And but from a kid, and you never know when kids are primed to listen.
I know.
That's the thing, and that's the sort of guilt about being a parent. It's like, well, I don't remember telling you could never eat broccoli or whatever.
Right. I didn't say that.
Yeah, but that's a funny thing because a child heard it whether you said it or not.
Right.
That's what they heard.
Yeah, and there are, I mean, you have moments in your life where you're like, oh, that's a moment I remember so vividly, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. I think there's times in everybody's life, not just as a child, but times when for some reason the planets are aligned or whatever, and you are primed to remember this very specific moment.
Right.
Which is the spoiler alert for this episode.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, we have a Facebook question coming up. Mardo Glunkin, Facebook asks, so what about your dad?
Oh, yeah, we were going there, weren't we?
Yeah. Sorry,
Right.
Mardo. Yeah. We will continue.
Oh, we
And you'll
absolutely
And you'll get used to the fact that we never finish anything.
Absolutely. Can I say that we are sponsored today by Tutti Frutti?
Tutti Frutti, yes, and I have several of the older models, but yeah, it's an excellent product. I would recommend it.
They are our product.
Got pinstripe, yellow color, acid base, oxide, rusty mama, leather face. It's the type of product you'd love to embrace. Tutti Frutti.
Wait, there's more.
You can heat it up, mix it up, Teflon clean. Comes with more attachments than you've ever seen. Stripped down, sexy if you know what I mean. Tutti Frutti.
But order now.
Rechargeable batteries that can't be beat. Collect them all and you'll be complete. It's the only product endorsed by McGreed. Tutti Frutti.
Not available in stores. May cause drowsiness. Some patients have experienced wandering eye, loss of kneeling, excessive truthfulness, dry finger, sore or watering nipples, aversion to electrical appliances, dog breath, and is contraindicated in patients who express hypersensitivity to it.
Ah, yeah, and that.
I hate the watering nipple part. But yeah, it's a great product, and
Yes.
anybody who wants to know anything about it will be glad to, play the play the song again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or whatever.
But everyone's different, and my nipples have been dry.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I've been sopping mine up for a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't really bother me.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so now
Back to Mardo's question.
Dad. Dad. So Dad had some cool cars.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
definitely.
he-
He was a car guy.
He was,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
what I liked about that is that I was able to I wasn't able to get his God, what was that, a Camaro Z?
Oh, the orange Camaro. Yeah.
But I did. I was able to get that Lincoln Continental Mark III.
My dreams never low rider.
Oh, that was a good.
Low.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that was a sweet car. That was a jet black Lincoln Continental Mark III. I mean, not suicide doors, but it was like the next model up. And man, and we lived in D.C., so you almost felt like it should have diplomat flags on it. I mean, when you went somewhere, you traveled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I remember I took Stevie to the prom in that car.
Oh, lucky. I took two prom dates in the Mark IV.
Oh! You got the Mark IV, not the
Yeah.
Mark III.
No, I got both. Well, I mean,
okay.
at the end of the days of the Mark III, I got the Mark III. But
Right.
but
Okay.
but I did get the Mark IV, and then that was
Both
that was
were
definitely-
black.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
styling for the prom.
Oh my God. Yeah, me too. Plus, I had not. I was wearing a suit. first time wearing a suit, driving a Lincoln Continental, I felt pretty fly, but I didn't realize how slippery the fucking seats were. I took a left turn and whoo, I was almost on my prom date. Wow. Yeah. So, it was something you had to watch out for. But I mean, it had power, everything. Oh my God.
I got after prom. The chick I took to prom, I was in ninth grade. She was in 12th.
Holy shit.
I know. And I'm like, wow, this is great. And I met her dad, right? Of course, you meet the dad before you go to the, and he's like, you better have her home at 10, blah, 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 blah. I've got a shotgun and a blah, blah, blah.
That's two blah, blah, blahs, but I'm just saying.
I never said the blah, blah, blah. So yeah, and we get out of, and this was down in D.C. This was the Key Bridge at the Key Bridge.
Oh wow.
Key Marriott, I guess, right?
Okay.
And I didn't realize, but I think she had been taking some nips of some alcohol or whatever, and we get into get into the Lincoln, and I'm like, wow, this has actually been a pretty good night, and she says, okay, take me. And I said, I looked at her with wide eyes and said, take you? I'm taking you home. That's where I'm taking you.
Dad says.
Yeah, boy. I'm sorry. I lost out on that one.
Well, ninth grade, wow.
She was like a Belinda Carlisle, man. She was gorgeous.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man. How'd you score that?
I have no idea.
Great.
She thought I was funny, right?
Yeah.
She thought I was funny, and that was it. All right. Anyway, there we go. We're off.
Yep.
Off to the races.
Well, it's all about the cars, because you're right. Dad was a car guy. Dad used to get junkers. I mean, this was before we were born. He had an English Anglia, whatever that is, or an English Ford, or some sort of English car. He had, what was it? The
Carmen Gias too.
And the Corvairs. When we were living in Holmes Run Acres,
also a DC suburb,
yeah, where Mark was born.
Right.
We had a Corvair, a maroon Corvair, and Mom drove a Corvair station wagon. Oh,
what?
She was Jackie O when she got out of that. I mean, just fresh out of work in her short little dress and her bouffant hair, and coming home, and all my buds were like, gosh, your mom's so pretty. Well, yeah.
Mom's driving home.
All my low rider.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But yeah, he always had cars to fix up, and the orange Camaro, he had gone down to the dealer, right?
Right.
With the intention of buying, a family kind of car, because we sort of needed it. Mom had the white Dodge station wagon or whatever that was, but
the tank.
The tank. Yeah, that's what I inherited. Thanks, Ter.
Well, I had that for a while too.
Yeah, we all did, I think. But he went down there, and some kid had ordered this orange Rally Sport Camaro 69 with the folding eye headlights, and
on a Rally Sport. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And because it had an 8-track stereo.
Even cooler.
Yeah, I know. But the kid then reneged on the deal. Can't pay for that and whatever. So they had this sitting around, and Dad looked. I'm sure he got an instant boner. It's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You said it. All right.
Exactly. So, so he came home with that, and I'm sure Mom was like, what the okay. Mom, I don't know. I don't remember her reaction to it, but Dad loved it. Oh man.
Was that the white one?
The orange one.
Oh, he got the orange one. Oh.
Yeah. He bought the orange car that the kid reneged on.
Right.
He didn't order it. He went down to get a car or whatever,
Right.
you to a dealership, you decide on what you want, whether you want the leather interior or the regular carbon fiber, this and that. But they had this orange Camaro talking to him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so he just came home with that. It was like, yeah, I'm done.
Wow. Well, okay, so that was before then the white. He had a Rally Sport white one too, didn't he? That was a
No, the white one, the white car was a Delta 88 or something like that.
Oh.
It was the convertible you're talking about?
Yeah, the convertible.
Yeah. Boy, that was a car.
Yeah, well,
That was more a marshmallow car. I mean, that you turned 2 zip codes ahead because it would eventually start turning.
right.
But
Like the chopper bicycle Mark made for me. Can never really turn.
yeah, you just turn and hope that eventually it'll get there before the end of the road.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I do know that he had Carmen Diaz,
Right.
or at least one or two. I thought, but more importantly, I kind of wanted to say, Dad was very cultured and and funny.
Well, he had an engineering degree from LSU, and it was a time pre-hippies when beatniks were big.
Beatniks, right? He was a beatnik.
He was a beatnik, and but a beatnik that had some decent education and, like you say, this kind of culture. That he wasn't so anti-establishment that he wouldn't be a part of it. He was going to do whatever the heck he wanted and still be a beatnik,
Right.
So I don't know what the point of that was, but it was what I said.
Well, so Mom also was cultured herself too. They both of them tend to love the fine arts. Right, even though they're working class, but they both worked from home with their own businesses. Mom didn't work from home; Dad did.
No, she had a business, a brick and mortar business that she built up. Yeah,
right.
Which I was always proud of Mom. I got to tell you, I mean, in a man's world, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, just tearing it up. When she went to sell her business, she brought along Dad, because the buyer said, well, okay, so how much he'd ask questions of Dad, like, what's your customer base like? And Mom would answer. Mom would say, we have 370 customers, regular customers, and blah blah blah, making 30
blah blah blah.
Yeah, there I blah 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 you. Making a bunch of money and this and that. And the guy would talk to Dad because he was a man that talked to a man.
Oh, of course, right.
And Mom was brilliant in that way. She didn't take it offensively, but she knew enough to bring Dad along for the negotiations and sold the business at a pretty penny. So I thought that was pretty smart. I was always proud of her for working in a man's world and not trying to be a man. Still, she was just Mom.
Right.
Did you work? Did you work for Mom at all?
No. No, I remember going to her shop, and Mark and I would have those little wind-up cars, this little gear wind-up car, and we'd run those things down the hallways left and right. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about, but they were all metal and they were just gears, and you'd wind them up and they just go down a. That's all I remember.
Cat?
Yes.
They'd go be yan yan yan. Is that what you said?
No, they would go yan yan b yan yan b.
Oh, in joke. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. They would actually go.
Okay, so but back to Dad. Very cultured. Cultured, eclectic in both of their ways of looking at the world. I think, both from an artistic standpoint and a societal standpoint. I mean, they were, not. It was important for us kids not to judge. Not to, judge on color of skin or judge on education level or whatever. And I think we turned out pretty good.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say, I do have to say that I got a little chastised when I brought home a black girl.
Oh, really?
I was surprised. I mean, I was really surprised.
I bet. I would have been surprised, too.
Dad was like, you can't date her because she's thick. And, I mean, he didn't say it, but you could tell. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was weird because I took from him just that you could not, you don't judge people by their skin color. You don't judge people by their, the way they act or the way they are or blah, blah, blah. Right. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, there you added a fourth blah. Thank you.
I had to change it up.
Yes, exactly. That is interesting because Dad may have been coming from a place of, while don't judge, but others will judge you. And that, it was a time when
I can get
I don't know. It was hippie time, so maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
My thing about Dad was Dad and Mom, both of them actually. Word games. Oh my God, the word games. They were just so brilliant, both of them.
And we were a gaming family. I've talked to a lot of people who, Helen, for instance, my wife, who once in a while played Scrabble or something like that. But we played Diplomacy, we played Battlefield, we played
Diplomacy, but
Probe, we played Boggle, we played.
I have tried to describe Diplomacy to people, and nobody knows what it is.
I know. Me too.
You've done the same thing?
Yeah, because they think of it as a board game, and it has nothing to do with. Well, it doesn't have nothing to do. I mean, you're playing on. Basically, it's a board game.
It kind of doesn't.
If you haven't heard of it, it's a board game it's a simplified Europe in 1900. Where pre-World War I, when you have Austria-Hungary still as a country, and you have a bunch of things like that, and sort of like the World Games, where you move a piece, but you actually have to write out your orders. Right. Everybody writes out their orders for what they're going to do, but that's just the surface of the game. The real part of the game is that you have to use diplomacy to get what you want. Obviously, everybody wants to rule the world, and I'm not singing the song, but everybody wants to get in good with somebody and make promises that sometimes you'll keep and that sort of thing. So you can say, you know what, if you support me in this move, you can have Tunis or, some other part of the thing. And, it got secret. It's like, France, I need to talk to you in the bathroom right now.
Right.
Exactly. And so you and France would go in, and it was perfectly legal then for somebody to try to listen to the door.
Right.
Oh,
But
my
you'd have
God.
to peek out. You'd have to peek out and make sure nobody was listening. Right.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
spring would end, and you would get.
Oh, it was hell. It was hell.
Oh, it was.
It was absolute war.
You know, but it was such a mind game. It was great. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on about that game.
No, but back to the gaming. You know, we really played a wide variety of games. I mean, Dad
Yeah.
played chess. You know, and just we played almost like after dinner. There was a pressure. You'd feel it,
Yeah.
like the dining room was calling. We had
Right.
a round table in the dining room. It was
doing-
perfect for gaming. I mean,
Yes.
we should have been playing Dungeons and Dragons, but it hadn't been invented yet. Hello. So,
Actually, that's interesting. We had a rectangular table in the kitchen that we ate at, and then in the dining room we had a game table that was perfectly round and had those stupid red chairs.
oh, I hated those red leather chairs.
But it wasn't always about a game. My dad sometimes would just throw us all paper plates, and we would have to draw on paper plates.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember that?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, we're drawing today.
Right. Mom would get out a couple of old magazines and say, "We're making collages now." It's like, okay, that's what we're doing, and
Right,
it
right.
would be fun because we'd
Right.
show and share and laugh, and it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was right after Mom was like, eat your beans, and we're like, no, I don't want to.
He has less beans than I. I've got to eat all of mine. What didn't you like? What was the food that was like absolutely not?
I think we talked about that last time. I think you're right. I think all three of us hated baked beans.
Oh, see, I loved baked beans.
Oh, you loved baked beans.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
didn't I like? Well, I don't know. I kind of liked all of Mom's whatever she whipped up or whatever, and they were just meals whipped up in 30 minutes because she was just
she was
come
a
home from
working
work.
mom
Yeah.
and had to feed the army.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a call or a text from Harold Palmer at Facebook, who asks, "What was your favorite snack?" Oh, because Dad had the snack drawer.
Oh my God!
Remember
he
that?
had. Oh, okay, so when I was growing up, right, he had his drawer full of.
Pistachios.
Oh, I love pistachios. But he had. But okay, so that was yours? I don't know. Like
No, I hated pistachios. Go ahead.
his thing was, and my thing at the time, it was that semi-sweet chocolate, special chocolate, right? Hershey's.
Oh, like a
special.
dark chocolate.
Yes, and it was it was not unsweetened, but it was not much sweetened.
Right. Really?
And I just did this the other night. Popcorn. But but I do it, I buy the kernels and I throw them in the pan of oil, right? Where Dad got
Right.
those little those bags of
Oh yeah, the microwave bags. Yeah.
well, they weren't microwave, but
No?
it was a bag of popcorn, but it had a separate pouch of oil. You'd push the oil out into the bottom of that pan, and then it melts, and then you put the popcorn in the in the pan, and he would
What
shake
happened to
it
the
around.
bag?
He would shake it around in the pan at the bottom of the pan, sitting in oil. So it was cooked. It wasn't microwaved.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's how I do it today. I mix butter and oil and put popcorn in the bottom of that pan until it, oils. Yeah. It was good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, popcorn was a good staple. I mean, we'd be all in the TV room watching, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Wait a minute.
What?
Sorry. I just got that picture of Dad's favorite snack.
okay.
You're going to crack up. It was you take saltine crackers, and you crumble them up into a bowl. And he would sit there with the bowl underneath his chin, and his tongue would come out and be like, blah, blah. And
Oh, yeah.
get those
Absolutely.
crackers, and it was almost scary.
He even called the bowl his tongue licking cracker bowl. That's what he called
I believe it.
And,
I believe it.
he would hold this bowl in his hand right up to his chin, and out of the corner of your eye, you'd see the tongue come out, and it would just dab, dab, dab. These triangles of bits of salty cracker, and then it would withdraw. Oh my God, into his mouth, and you'd think, what is he doing? What's he building in there? Yeah,
A horse! Oh my God! Yeah, no, that was
tongue licking cracker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I mean, did he do that?
Oh,
when you were-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I never, we didn't get any of the crackers. You know, it wasn't like, here, have a lick on my bowl.
Right.
Yummy.
No, sir. You had it in with Dad to get certain, like olives or, pickles or stuff
Oh,
like
him
that.
and I both loved really salty stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Yeah.
He loved olives. Yeah. And so did I.
Oh, and
Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, you go.
No, you.
Okay, so no. Oh no, I insist. He would buy Charles chips in the big tin. I mean, it was like a foot round tin that you get popcorn in. You get
Can't do
popcorn
anything in
now.
a small version. Yeah.
No. But they were special order from Pennsylvania. You could only get them Charles chips. You had to get them from Harrisburg, someplace like that, where Charles chips were made.
Right.
And he loved them to the point where it was only his. I mean, you were not allowed any of them. I mean, Mom would buy you all kinds of chips, or it would be fine, but you didn't get any of Dad's Charles chips. No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Mom did buy us Chips Ahoy and
In that, all put in those weird drawers that you had to lift up and pull, and they sort of fell out. Remember that? Those plastic drawers below the cabinets
which ones? Down at the
on the left and the right.
on the left side. Oh, left side. Okay.
On the left and the right of the stove. There
above
it was
or below?
Below the stove.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
below,
okay.
Below the cabinets, but
Right.
above the stove.
Right.
On the left and right were these plastic cheap ass drawers that sort of you had to push up, and then they fell down, and everything was exposed. I don't know.
70s. All
Yeah,
that 70s
70s.
furniture.
Yeah,
IKEA hadn't been invented yet.
yeah. IKEA was still in Sweden.
That's me. Oh my God! Yeah, and then there is one other thing. And I this was kind of cool, because a lot of the stuff that he ate was terrible, right? Fried squash.
Oh, that's
and
true.
blah, blah,
No, fried squash was good.
no, but I mean that's all he would eat, right? So
Yeah.
And this was after Mom had left, but
Right.
he did show me, you that olive, right? You'd take that olive and you'd cut it in half, and then you'd take a piece of ham, right? And you'd put on that piece of ham, you would put a piece of a little bit of cream cheese on that ham, and then you would roll it up, and have that. Honestly, it was just a what do you call those things? Little finger
Roll-ups?
foods. Yeah, little.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hors d'oeuvre type thing.
That's
it was
why-
just a big hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah, he called them horse duvers. He did. I'm like, what do you mean horse duver? And then he'd be like, spell hors d'oeuvre, and I'd be like,
Oh, horse dubers.
or we'd be sitting at the kitchen table, and he would be like, okay, everybody eat, but if you have to speak, you only speak in Spanish.
Yeah, I remember that.
He did that.
Yeah. He also did the, You have to point with your elbow.
Oh, well, because you did have those drinking games.
Yeah,
But we weren't drinking.
we were kids. We weren't
Right.
drinking yet. Yeah,
Right. You can
But
only
yeah.
point, with your elbow, or
with your elbow.
you can't say, I don't know, certain words you couldn't say. We'd have to, everybody
Yeah.
would get to make up a rule.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Those are old drinking games.
Yeah, that's
Who
great.
thought of that?
Yeah, I didn't think they were. I didn't make the connection either. But yeah, you're right. They were
Yeah.
old drinking games.
From his college, times.
Sure.
I wonder how much
But-
hazing he got.
But he did. He made. I mean, and the other thing was, you'd go over to somebody else's house. Not everybody, but they ate in flippin' silence. It's like, what? Are we in a library
I know,
here?
right.
Because I mean, our kitchen table, it was everybody talked blah blah blah. It was going on and left and right, and oh yeah, hand me the blah blah. I blah blahed twice.
I mean, the blah blah.
But it made it fun. Oh, and remember, Mark. Oh, were you old enough to? Or you've probably heard the story.
Well, no, I remember Mark.
Yeah. He's the middle brother.
Right. Oh,
So
yeah, okay, go
so
ahead.
he got it in his head. Wow, this is really all just a big novel. And so Dad would say, hey, so Jan, what did you do today? Asked Dad.
Oh, that's right.
Mark would say that, and then Mom would say, well, I didn't do anything. Replied Mom, and he did this like 3/4 of the way through the meal, and it just started to rankle on Dad. Right? So he said, Mark, you got to stop that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So he said, eventually, Mark, if you say that one more time, I'm going to come across there, and you're gonna hate it. Said Dad.
He couldn't help it.
He couldn't help himself. Of course, Dad didn't wail on him or anything. He
Right,
just tried to put the fear. You never put the fear of God in Mark, because Mark knew everything, and was.
I don't think.
What?
Yeah, I don't think our parents ever put. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but the fear of God was never, ever like thrown
Held
at me.
over your head.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Mom could yell, boy. She could.
Oh, she could get mad. Yeah.
Every weekend, she would just be like, Terry, get out of the house. I'm cleaning. And I'd go off into the woods. Dad,
Yeah.
Dad would just be like, will you light somewhere?
Right. You make a better door than a window.
Welp.
Well,
That's how things go.
Yep.
Jeez. Oh, and the intercom.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were around during the intercom.
Oh my God. Well, see, Dad, when the house was being built, Dad went into the unfinished house and drilled all the holes for wiring and wired every room for intercom.
Yeah.
And so when they put up all the panels, he just, knew where each one was, pulled out the wire, and every room could have an intercom, even though we didn't have them in our bedrooms. There was TV room, there was his downstairs workroom, there was the kitchen, there was the front door.
Right.
So
Well, yeah,
we'd be running. I'd be chasing you or something, like bum 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 bum, and forget the Dad's downstairs right below. Bum 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 back and forth, and bum 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 back and forth. And of course, he couldn't yell at us, but he could announce himself.
And we would stop, walk over to the intercom in the kitchen and go, press the button and go, yes, huh?
Right. Yeah. Like
Will you
we
do something?
we were completely innocent. Yes, I know.
Oh, that was great. Oh, which reminds me of the because he was an electronic engineer, right? I loved this. He had this box that he had created that he put in between this is kind of weird, but he put it in between the beds that my mom and dad slept on because they were in separate beds.
Right. They had. It was really.
yeah,
it was really single couches, not with a back.
Right.
But I think they could have
They were just
gone
single
together.
beds. Like,
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
Yeah, they were just single
We
beds.
used
But
them
anyway.
as couches. Yeah.
Right. So I know I would like, and they had a dresser between the two of them, right? Kind of a large
Because-
dresser.
So that everybody knows, their bedroom was called the TV room, not their
Right.
bedroom.
Not their
It was where we, as a family, would watch TV. Oh, 7:30. Whoa, Disney's on. And we'd all pile into the
And that's
TV
what I mean.
room.
Like the shows that we would watch were always like, scientific shows, or sometimes there was, I Love Lucy, but
yeah, and Mary Tyler
Yeah,
Moore.
Mary
and-
Tyler
yeah.
Moore, but for the most part, it was what did they have? David Attenborough was always on,
Wild Kingdom.
Wild
yeah.
Kingdom, and
So this device
so the box, right?
between the two beds had a speaker on each side, so that you got to hear
the TV.
the TV through these speakers. It didn't come out of the television. It was all wired, right? And on top of the box was the red button.
the big, shiny, candy-like red button.
history eraser red button. And so it was great because Dad hated commercials. He absolutely hated commercials. So what would happen is when a commercial would come on, you could hit the red button
the
and
big,
the
shiny, like red
beautiful
button.
yes.
Sorry.
The beautiful red shiny history erasing button.
Right.
And the commercials, the sound would go off. I mean, the commercials still be playing on the TV.
The sound was off.
But the sound was off, and that was the time to converse.
Right.
We would talk. Oh my God! Did you see what he just did? And start talking. But then somebody would notice. Oh, the show's back on, and slap the button, and we'd all just face the TV. It was like it would shut us up instantly.
Absolutely. It honestly, even though it was all wired, it was the first remote control.
Right.
And I'm like, nobody
right.
else had something like that. And then, even more importantly, every 15 minutes, I think it was, that one of those lights would flash, and if you didn't hit the sound on and off, within a certain amount
Right.
of time, the TV would go off automatically.
Well, and that's because Dad liked falling asleep to the TV, but he didn't like in the middle of the night or whenever,
Yeah.
waking up to find that the flippin' TV's on.
Right.
So I believe it was every 25 minutes, so that he would get an entire half-hour show. You didn't have to, but you did because there were commercials anyway.
Right.
But
right.
you'd have to turn it off and turn it back on. But if you didn't, that's when the TV would start the countdown. Okay, 25 minutes. And then he's obviously asleep. He hasn't even gotten rid of that commercial. The TV would go off, and there would, it would be done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also for the early games that we played like not Battleship, but Battlefield. It's an Avalon Hill game. Anyway, where you had to roll dice.
Right.
Well, he had a little device that rolled dice for you. You'd hit the button. You had to select it for one dice or two dice, but you'd hit the button and it would and then it would show
Trouble.
the. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, was this?
No, it was all electronic.
Oh, it was all electronic. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, man, he was genius.
He's
He's definitely genius.
Yeah, you know what he made just the simplest machine ever. All it did was blink, blinking light, right?
Right.
And he gave it to his mom and dad because because he didn't have any use for it, I guess, or
Right.
got tired of it or whatever. But gave it to him as a gift, and they loved it. It was just a, it was
blinking light.
Blinking light. Well, when Grandma and Grandpa were robbed, the guy came in, and not only they weren't there; they were out of town.
Right.
But he saw this blinking light and said, "Oh, that's some sort of device," and smashed it.
What the? I'm being recorded.
or or something. In those days, just a blinking light was suspicious. And why
Right.
is it that cars now have a blinking light that just, when you're in the car, it just blinks?
Yeah, that's
You
a good
know?
question. Well, if you put your seatbelt on, it'll go away.
Yeah, but if you start the car, it stops blinking. But
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
but it's I thought, oh, it knows my key is around. But no, I've gotten in the car without the key, and it's or even looked at in the window to see, it's blinking. It's like I might be armed.
Maybe that's
don't
what
know.
it is, right? Yeah.
I don't know. It says something about the key. I forget.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Interesting.
So Dad had all kinds of little inventions like that. He apparently, when I was growing up in Louisiana, had when he would go off to school, he didn't want the dogs to get out. So when he started his car, somehow the door would shut to the house. I don't know how.
What?
Yeah. Something. I asked Mom about it, and she said, "Oh yeah, or something like that." But she was not mechanical or
Right.
that mechanical, and just explained it as, when Dad left, the door shut so the dogs wouldn't get out. Well, how? Inquiring minds want to know.
Hey, how does it work? How does it work?
What?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going, I'd get sick or something like that, stay home from school, and he'd have to take me down to maybe something Carl. What was Call Carl?
Call Carl. Yeah.
Call Carl or something like
Yeah.
that. And I remember he's a paper punch tape computer, right? And
Right.
he'd run the program through it. It kind of sounded like AOL.
Right.
But
Right. It did.
right? But,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, whoa, what does that do? And he's like, it shuts that door over there. I'm sure it did more than that, but I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
makes
I
me-
know.
yeah.
Well,
But, you
that's like telling your daughter it's a spaceship.
Right, probably. Probably. And then eventually he got into programming and programmed for the TRS-80, right?
Correct.
For the TRS-80, he programmed Pac-Man, right? And then
Well, it was a Pac-Man ripoff, because at the time Pac-Man and Lady Pac-Man was a big
Right.
kind of a deal. So what he wrote was Spooks. Yeah, which would have been a terrible name nowadays.
oh
but
my God, yeah.
But it was the same idea. It was these little scary, ghosty things going around, and you had to, chomp them, eat them.
Yeah,
You know.
it was the same
Yeah.
way that Pac-Man worked, right? And then he worked for Avalon Hill, the company, and creating, by the way, the game. We were just talking about it. Diplomacy.
Battlefield.
Diplomacy.
No. Oh yeah, he did 2 games for them. He did
Oh, he did
Diplomacy. No, and he did one called B-17, which was actually
Bingo!
flight simulator for a B-17 during the war, and you drop bombs and that sort of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, that's that's Dad. Well, it's not Dad in a nutshell. There's so much more to like.
There's so much more.
to
Yeah.
go back. But there it is.
There you go. That's
Oh, and I'm sorry we weren't as funny as we usually are. But it was
thought we were.
interesting.
Yeah, we stay interesting, and that's the whole idea: is to just talk, have a good time, and if it's entertaining, it is. If it's not, well,
Well, it's entertaining to me.
yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't think it has to be funny all the time, but I think, I think we're doing a pretty good job of keeping it flowing, and, and actually, spoiler alert, we had a good time.
Yeah. Well, we don't shut up. That's why.
Well, there you
Spoiler
have it.
alert.
That's the spoiler alert. Okay.
Remember that show.
And remember to buy as much Tutti Frutti as you can.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. We gotta
It's
like.
got pinstripes. No. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
So I guess pretty much, except for our engineer, Jamie Duncan, who is a goat collector.
Oh.
And then he did pop out. I don't know. I was going to go on.
But it's nap time.
It is. It's nap time. I wasn't up to my best.
Yes. Hey, thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks,
and,
everybody. We
you
love
guys,
you.
We love you all, and have a great night.
Continue
good
doing
day.
what you were doing
Yeah,
without us.
Without love you,
Good to
Zen.
talk to you. I love you too, Terry. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.